When you first look at Delhi Capitals, you look at firstly who didn't turn up. Ngini didn't turn up, the South African fast bowler. Harry Brook, the English exciting middle order player, didn't turn up. I think probably the bowling component, Ngini, was probably a bigger loss for Delhi Capitals with regards to having someone that was going to add that depth of quality to their attack. The other aspect was, I think, the form of a lot of their top order. A number of their domestic players were trialled. Prithvi Shaw, who has been in that franchise for a number of years, again given opportunity. Didn't start at the very beginning, which did surprise a lot of us. Ricky Boye was also tried at number 3, which is really out of position given he domestically bats at 5. And then they had Mitchell Marsh at the top of the order with David Warner. Both had modest returns this year. Mitchell Marsh only playing the 4 games and then having to leave because of a hamstring injury. So from that perspective, that was the batting issues. When it comes to the bowling, it was just huge inconsistency early on in their tournament. The other big miss from them was Kuldeep, was injured for a period of time, so they lacked that sort of world-class spinner. Well, if you look at the bright spots, firstly, if you look on the domestic front, their Indian stars, Kuldeep, had an outstanding season. Again, really shining and bowling particularly well in those middle overs, a real wicket-taking option. Akshar Patel, again, had another good series with ball and bat. Again, there was questions to whether he could have batted further up the order and given that opportunity, because every time he seemed to get that chance, he would offer good returns. Paral was another real plus. You look at what Abhishek Paral did when he was given the opportunity, it really showed that he's a super talent and one to look out for. And then again on their pace bowling front, Mukesh Kumar, I thought, bowled well. You've got to also consider where they were playing. A lot of their home games were played at very high scoring matches, so therefore, yes, the economy is going to be high, but certainly he had a good strike rate. And Khalil also had a good strike rate. Again, economy a little bit high, but I think that reflects where they played. So there was a number of bright spots. And the other thing is that, you have to look at the fact that they had to make a comeback after a poor start, which they did. Then you look at the overseas, you look at Fraser-McGurk. He got picked halfway through and really set a fire underneath this team and got them going. And Tristan Stubbs proved that he is a force to be reckoned with as a finisher. Looking at Delhi Capitals' retention, it's going to be a tricky one because obviously they've got a lot of experience they would like to consider for retention, but on a 3-year cycle I think they've got to go with youth. Firstly, Rishabh Pant is an absolute must when it comes to retention. Captain, you look at Akshar Patel, I think, is a definite retention, and also Kuldeep you'd look at as retention. So 3 roughly from the domestic front. On the overseas, I'd be looking purely at the younger players in Tristan Stubbs and Jake Fraser-McGurk. I think both of those players will be snapped up in a heartbeat if they're put back into the auction. Rishabh Pant's return to cricket was a wonderful sight to see. It put a smile on everyone's face to see, how he came back from such a devastating accident. He surprised us all too, because we all thought that he'd start the season potentially as an impact sub and just play as a batter, but he started behind the stumps and with bat in hand, and he did it seamlessly. He got going very early on in his early games, striking at a high strike rate and putting in a number of good performances. So a real heartwarming return for Rishabh Pant to the high-level game, and it's great to see him get recognised with a World Cup berth. Looking at the Delhi squad, it does boast a lot of quality, particularly on the overseas front. Yes, they had a couple of players that didn't turn up, but I don't think that really affected their performance in 2024. I thought, if anything, with regards to their recruitment of their domestic players, Kushagra was one they paid a lot of money for at the auction and would have had high expectations. He failed to deliver. Ricky Boye is another one that was given opportunity at the top of the order. He failed to deliver. And Prithvi Shaw, who is a player not got from the auction, but has been with the Delhi Capitals for a number of times, failed to fire as well. So I think they had the personnel when it come to overseas. Domestic, I thought, was a little bit thin, particularly on the batting front.